What happens when the man who built a cafe empire from scratch ends up wiping tables in one of his own stores and sees a young mom get turned away for something that should have never been denied? Wesley Ellman hadn't stepped foot in store number 14 in over 3 years. He had opened it himself when there were only 3 cafes. Now, with 18 locations across 3 states, the business had grown faster than he ever imagined. But lately, things fell off. Customer reviews were slipping. Turnover was high. And while his executive team fed him neat reports and graphs, Wesley didn't trust them anymore. He wanted raw truth. So, he shaved his beard, dyed his graying hair, and slipped on a pair of thick-rimmed glasses. A new name tag read, Mike Training. He picked Store 14 because it used to be one of the best. But he hadn't personally met any of the current staff. Turnover had shuffled the deck completely. Plus, this one was far enough from the main office that no one would expect the CEO to show up scrubbing tables. The moment he stepped in the back door, he felt a tension. The kind of weight you can't see, but you feel in the air. Mike, right? A tired-looking barista asked, glancing at his tag. I'm Jenna. You're shadowing me today. We're short 2 again. Wesley nodded. Yeah, just here to help. Good, she said, because we've got a line out the door. By 10 a.m., Wesley had wiped down 10 tables, cleaned the overflowing trash twice, and accidentally spilled milk while trying to restock the fridge. No one had time to chat. The cafe was packed, and the staff was stretched thin. He noticed Jenna hadn't taken a break. Neither had the dishwasher, a quiet guy named Ray, who worked like he was trying to outrun a clock. The only one who didn't seem rushed was the supervisor, Lauren. She stayed behind the counter, barking orders, but never lifting a finger. Ray, clean up that spill by the register, Lauren snapped, pointing at a tiny splash of coffee. Wesley bit his tongue. Ray was already elbow-deep in dishes. He moved fast, though, and cleaned it without a word. Around noon, a young woman came in holding a toddler on her hip. She looked exhausted. The kid, maybe 2 years old, clung to her shirt and blinked up at the pastry case. Hi, the mom said, stepping up to the counter. I was wondering if I could get a small cup of milk for him. Just milk. I don't have much on me today. Lauren didn't even look up from her tablet. We don't give away free drinks. Saw the mother's face flushed. Oh, I wasn't asking for free. I mean, I can pay, just not for a full latte or anything.
Just plain milk, like.
A kid's cup? Lauren let out a short laugh. It's not on the menu. We don't do custom stuff. You'll have to order something. Wesley froze mid-wipe. His gut twisted. Please, the woman said quietly. He hasn't eaten since this morning. I just need something small to hold him over. We're not a food bank, Lauren said, turning her back. The kid started crying. The mom gently bounced him, trying to shush him. She looked around awkwardly, then started backing toward the door. Wesley dropped the rag and stepped forward. I'll pay for it, he said quickly. Just charge me for a small milk. Lauren turned. Mike, you're new. That's not how we do things. I'm offering to pay, he repeated. Out of my own wallet. Lauren narrowed her eyes. This isn't about the money. If we do this once, people will expect handouts. I don't think that's true, Wesley said. She wasn't asking for a handout. She just needed help. Lauren didn't respond. Wesley walked around the counter, grabbed a to-go cup, filled it with milk, and handed it to the woman. Here, he said softly. It's on me. She blinked at him, eyes welling up. Thank you. You don't know what this means. He watched her leave, the toddler finally calming down as he sipped. Wesley turned back toward Lauren. She was already back on her tablet like nothing happened. Ray leaned over and whispered, That kind of thing happens a lot. People ask for stuff like that and get turned away. Lauren doesn't bend. Wesley clenched his but now he knew what Store 14 had become. And he'd just scratched the surface. By late afternoon, the pace inside the cafe hadn't let up, and neither had the pressure behind the counter. Wesley's feet ached, his shirt stuck to his back, and his calves burned from endlessly bending, lifting, walking. But what knotted him more was the way things operated, like the staff were just bodies to get through orders, not people. At exactly 4 o'clock, Lauren emerged from the back office and called out, "Team meeting. Front of house."
Now.
Wesley followed the others to the small space near the employee lockers. Jenna leaned against the wall, wiping her hands on her apron. Ray stood silently near the mop sink, eyes lowered. Lauren stood in front of them, arms crossed. "Listen up. Tomorrow corporates... Do they usually give notice like that?"
They don't, Lauren said.
"That's why I'm telling you now. Don't screw up." Ray adjusted his cap, but didn't speak. Wesley noticed a thin red mark on the back of his hand, looked like a fresh burn. He made a mental note to ask later. Lauren walked off before anyone could respond. The team dispersed quickly, each person returning to their station. Jenna paused beside Wesley as he refilled the napkin dispensers. "She always acts like that," she said quietly. "Especially when she thinks someone from corporate might show." Wesley nodded. "You've been here long?" "For months," she replied. "I came from another café chain. Figured smaller might mean more connection." "I was wrong." He didn't reply. She moved on to the register, and he watched as she handled a string of customers with calm professionalism. Her tone never wavered, even when one man grew irritated about a missing pastry item. She offered alternatives, solved the issue smoothly. No fanfare, just solid work. At 6:30, the dinner rush began. Wesley stayed near the espresso bar, wiping counters and restocking cups. A young man came in and asked if there were any gluten-free options. Lauren, standing by the register again, didn't look up from her screen. "Everything's labeled," she said flatly. "I didn't see anything," he replied. "Then there's nothing." He hesitated. "Could someone check? I have celiac, so I just..." "Sir, I said there's nothing." The man left, frustrated. Jenna sighed audibly. "I know for a fact we have the almond flour muffins," she muttered just loud enough for Wesley to hear. He stepped into the back storage area, pretending to grab lids. The muffins were clearly labeled, sitting in a cooler marked, "Allergen safe, ask Supervisor for access." He stared at the label for a moment, then returned to the front. Lauren was now sitting on a stool, scrolling on her phone behind the bar. The line was 5 customers deep, and Jenna was handling it alone. "Hey, Lauren," Wesley said casually. "Jenna said we have almond muffins for gluten-free requests. Is that right?" Lauren didn't look up. "If I say we don't, we don't." "But the label, Mike," she cut in sharply, finally glancing at him. "You're new. Stay in your lane." He met her eyes. "I'm just trying to help." "You help by doing what you're told." Wesley didn't respond. He turned and picked up a broom instead, sweeping behind the counter. By 7:15, he stepped outside for a quick breath of air. His calves cramped every time he stopped moving, but he needed a break from the atmosphere more than anything. He sat on the curb behind the building, just as Ray came out carrying a trash bag. The younger man's face was flushed from heat, and his shirt was soaked through. "You all right?" Wesley asked. Ray shrugged. "It's whatever." "That burn on your hand, what happened?" "Hot dish rack slipped. Water spilled. I tried to get gloves last week, but Lauren said they weren't in the budget." "She said that?" Ray nodded. "I asked twice. Said if I wanted extras, I could bring my own." Wesley stared at the ground, jaw tightening. "You think she's gonna care about burns?" Ray added. "I've seen worse. One guy slipped last month on the back tile. Cracked his elbow. She told him to finish the shift or not come back." He stood up and tossed the bag in the dumpster. Wesley didn't move. He sat there, stunned, until Ray disappeared back inside. He returned 10 minutes later. Jenna was still working the register, now with a noticeable limp in her left leg. She winced slightly as she shifted her weight. Wesley walked over. "You okay?" "It's fine," she said, mustering a smile. Old injury. I usually get to sit for a few minutes during the lull, but... Her eyes flicked toward Lauren, who was now watching a video on her phone with the volume on. You haven't sat since this morning? Nope. But hey, I've got 2 more hours, then I'm free. The bell above the door jingled. A pair of teenagers walked in, one wearing a hoodie with the café's logo on it. Let me guess, Wesley said. Next shift. The taller one nodded. Yeah, we're covering the close. Lauren looked up. You're late. We're 3 minutes early. By my clock, you're not. Clock in and get moving. Wesley watched as they moved behind the counter. The taller one, Marcus, seemed unsure of the setup. The other, a girl named Lila, looked around for direction but got none. Lauren didn't speak to either of them again. By 9:15, Jenna clocked out. She grabbed her bag, gave Wesley a tired wave, and disappeared into the night. Wesley stayed for the close. Washing, wiping, stacking. Lila and Marcus held their own, but it was clear they were still learning. When Marcus accidentally left a milk jug on the counter too long, Lauren snapped. Do you want to poison someone? This is basic food safety. You ruin this for us, you're gone. I'm sorry, don't explain. Fix it. Wesley stepped between them and grabbed the jug. It's still cold. I'll get a new one. We've got this. Lauren glared at him. You don't speak for me. I'm just supporting the team. You don't lead anything here, she said. You're a trainee. He didn't reply. At 10:30, the lights dimmed. The store finally locked. As the others filtered out, Wesley remained behind, wiping down the last table. Lauren walked past him, grabbing her coat. Don't be late tomorrow, she said without looking. He didn't answer. She paused at the door. And stop trying to play hero. This isn't your show. When she left, he stood in silence for a long time. Tomorrow he would return. Not as Mike, but as Wesley Ellman, the man who built this place from nothing. And this time he wasn't coming to observe. He was coming to clean house. The next morning, Wesley arrived at store 14 before the sun rose. This time, he wore a navy button-down and jeans clean, pressed, and unmistakably not a trainee's uniform. The name tag was gone. His graying hair was back to its natural color.
No glasses. No disguise.
He walked in through the front door, unnoticed at first. The café was nearly empty, 2 customers at a corner table, 1 barista behind the counter. Lila, the newer closing shift staff member, was restocking the pastry case. Her eyes widened when she saw him. She took a cautious step forward. Mike. He gave her a polite smile. Wesley Ellman. Her mouth opened slightly, then shut again. She looked stunned but not afraid, just confused. I'm the owner, he said gently. Today's going to be different. She nodded slowly, then glanced toward the back. Lauren's in the office. Jenna should be in soon. Thanks, Wesley said. You're doing good work, Lila. He walked past the counter and pushed open the back door. Inside, Lauren was at the desk, sipping from a branded tumbler and scrolling her phone. She didn't look up. If you're early, just wait in the front. I'm doing the schedule, she muttered. I'm not here to wait. She looked up. Her face didn't register recognition at first, but then her eyes narrowed slightly. You're Mike. No, he said calmly. I'm Wesley Ellman. I started this company in my garage 15 years ago. I've been in every store we've ever opened, including this one, but not recently enough, apparently. Lauren leaned back slowly, her mouth tightening. I came in undercover to see what was going on. What I saw was a team doing the best they could under pressure and a manager who doesn't lift a hand unless it's to criticize. Look, I don't know what you think you saw. I saw you ignore a safety request from a dishwasher with a burn on his hand. I saw you deny a cup of milk to a mother trying to feed her child. I heard you call someone a risk for asking about allergen-safe food. And last night, you let 2 new hires sink while you sat and watched videos. Lauren stood up. This is a high-pressure store. We meet volume targets. You can't run a place like this by coddling people. You run a place like this by leading people, he said, voice low now. You hire carefully. You protect your team. You serve the community. You don't treat customers like burdens or staff like they're disposable. She crossed her arms. I've been running this store for almost 2 years. If you didn't like it, maybe you should have checked in sooner. I made that mistake, he admitted. But I'm fixing it now. She gave a sharp laugh. You're firing me? Yes, he said without hesitation. Effective immediately. You can collect your belongings and go. HR will follow up within the hour. She stared at him for a moment, then scoffed and grabbed her bag from under the desk. You'll regret this, she muttered as she brushed past him. He didn't respond. She walked out the back door and didn't look back. Wesley emerged from the office and found Lila still near the counter, watching from a distance. I need to borrow the team for a few minutes, he said. Can you call everyone in who's here? Within 15 minutes, the morning crew assembled in the back. Jenna, Ray, Lila, and a shy-looking barista Wesley hadn't met yet, who introduced herself as Tanya. They stood in a loose circle, apprehensive, uncertain. Wesley stood among them, not above them. I owe you all an apology, he began. I built this company on the idea that kindness and quality could go hand in hand. That a cafe could be successful without burning people out or turning them cold. But I let myself drift too far from the day-to-day. And because of that, you've been working in conditions I would never have accepted years ago. The room was silent. Jenna's arms were crossed tightly, but her expression had softened. I've already let Lauren go, he continued. That's not a decision I made lightly, but it was necessary. No one should be spoken to or treated the way I saw her treat you. Ray looked up then, just briefly. There's more to fix, Wesley said. And I won't pretend it'll happen overnight. But today we start. First, Ray, you're getting proper gloves and floor mats by this afternoon. We'll also be adding a second dishwasher to rotate shifts. You've been doing the work of 2 people and it's not sustainable. Ray nodded once, quietly. Jenna, Lila, I've seen how hard you work under pressure. I want both of you to join me next week in a roundtable with the regional training team. I need real input from the floor, not just from executives. Jenna raised an eyebrow. You want us to tell the people upstairs what it's really like? That's exactly what I want, he said. She gave a small nod. Not a smile, but something close. Tanya, he said, turning to her, I know we haven't met before yesterday, but if there's anything you've noticed that needs attention, I want to hear it. You can reach me directly. She blinked. Me? Every voice matters, especially the ones we haven't heard yet. The team dispersed slowly, still adjusting to the shift. Jenna remained behind. I didn't think you'd come back, she said quietly. I didn't think I'd need to, he replied. I was wrong. She studied him for a moment, then asked, what happens next? You all keep doing what you've been doing, serving with care, staying sharp. I'll be here for the next few days. Not watching. Working. She gave a short breath, then turned back to the floor without another word. By noon, the vibe inside the cafe had changed. Wesley took orders alongside Tanya, helped Ray unload the delivery that came in late, and shadowed Lila as she taught Marcus how to handle the espresso machine properly. The team seemed lighter, if still cautious. Mid-afternoon, a man in a faded jacket came in with 2 kids. He glanced nervously at the menu, then leaned toward the counter. Is there anything small we can get for $5? He asked. Just something to split. Jenna met Wesley's eye. He nodded once. She leaned over the counter. We've got warm banana bread today. I'll warm it up for you. And some water for the kids. The man smiled faintly. Yeah, that'd be great. Wesley stepped into the back with Ray, who was finally off his feet for 5 minutes. You holding up? Better than usual. Wesley leaned against the wall. You ever want to move up? Learn more? Ray looked surprised. Like, Supervisor, if that's where you want to go, we'll get you trained properly.
No shortcuts.
But I think you've got the discipline. You just need a real shot. Ray nodded slowly. I'd like that. Back out front, the banana bread was gone, and the kids were laughing at something Lila said behind the counter. The man gave a grateful wave as they left. Wesley exhaled. It wasn't fixed. Not yet. But for the first time in a long time, it felt like the cafe was his again. 2 weeks later, Wesley returned to store 14 this time through the front door, in plain clothes, without a distraction or disguise. He wasn't there to clean tables or test anyone. He was there to follow through. The cafe was steady, but not slammed. A manageable line, light chatter. Jenna was at the register, focused but relaxed, her tone clear and steady as she greeted a pair of students comparing drink options. Ray was behind the dish station, sleeves rolled up, moving efficiently. Lila and Marcus were working in sync on hot drinks, coordinating without needing to speak much. There was tension in their faces, but it was the kind that came from concentration, not fear. Wesley stepped up to the counter, not drawing attention to himself. Jenna noticed him after a moment. "Morning," she said simply. He nodded. "Just here to observe from a distance today. But let me know if anything's missing. You've got full discretion." Jenna's eyes didn't widen. Her shoulders didn't tense. She just nodded once, like someone who'd finally been given room to breathe. By late morning, the regional HR lead, Carla, arrived. She'd been assigned to help oversee both the transition and hiring of a new manager. She and Wesley sat briefly in the back office, the same one where Lauren had sat with her feet up just weeks prior. Now the desk was clean. The schedule was pinned properly. The space felt like it belonged to someone who gave a damn. Carla pulled out a tablet. So far, no pushback from former staff. No contested claims. We processed Lauren's exit cleanly. I've also interviewed 4 candidates for store manager this week. Anyone stand out? One, Carla said, tapping a name. But she'd need support. She's got the leadership instincts, but she's never managed a full team. Wesley leaned forward. I'd rather take someone who's open to learning than someone who walks in thinking they know everything. She's been shadowing another location this week. We'll bring her in Monday. He nodded. I'll visit again, end of next week. Quietly. Carla studied him. You planning to go back undercover?
No, he said.
But I'll never go distant again. Later that afternoon, Wesley sat with Ray during his short break. The dishwasher was nursing a bottle of water, his new padded gloves beside him on the bench. Gloves working out? Wesley asked. They help a lot. And we've got a second guy now.
Luis.
He comes in afternoons. You two splitting the load all right?
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's not crushing anymore. Wesley leaned back. You thinking about that leadership track we talked about? Ray looked unsure. Still feels far off. You don't need to rush it. But when you're ready, we'll start with shift lead duties. Just an hour a day. Trial runs. Ray nodded slowly. I'd like that. Eventually. Let me know when. During the afternoon lull, Wesley pulled Jenna aside. She stepped into the back hallway with him, apron still on, shoulders squared. You've been steady through all this, he said. I don't take that lightly. I don't expect anything, she replied. Just trying to keep the place running. I'm offering something, he said. District-level support team. We're building a new layer for onboarding and training. I want you in on the pilot. Not full-time, you'd still have your shifts here. But 2 days a week, you'd work directly with new staff across 3 stores. Help shape what we teach. Jenna raised an eyebrow. You want me training others? Only if you want to. You've got the right temperament. Clear communicator. And you don't let pressure turn you cruel. She took a moment before answering. I'll try it. If it's terrible, I'm out. That's fair. That weekend, Wesley visited 2 other locations. One was running well, the other not. He made quiet notes, not as an owner looking to control, but as someone determined not to let the culture rot from the inside again. Back at store 14, the new hire Angela started Monday. Mid-30s, calm voice, background in hotel service. She didn't pretend to know everything. She asked questions. She stood behind the counter with the team, not above them. By Wednesday, she'd already jumped in to cover a short-staffed morning, helped Lila defuse a tense customer, and sat with Marcus after his first mistake during a rush. Wesley returned Thursday, unnoticed again at first. Angela spotted him eventually and walked over while wiping her hands on a towel. "I'm assuming I'm not in trouble." He smiled. "Not unless you hate banana bread. I brought some from the bakery down the street." Angela leaned against the counter. "It's different here."
You can feel it.
"The team looks tired, yeah, but it's not from fear." "That's the goal," Wesley said. "Let me know what you need. You're not alone in this." Before he left, he stopped by the dish station. Ray and Luis were working side by side, handling the afternoon load. Ray saw him and gave a short upward nod. Nothing more, but it was enough. Outside, Wesley paused before getting in his car. His reflection in the glass showed a man older than the one who'd opened store 14 years ago, but sharper now, too. He'd built a business, then nearly lost what made it matter. But now the culture was recovering, not from policy memos or slogans, but from people finally being treated like they mattered. He made a call from the driver's seat. "Carla," he said, "let's add one more thing to the onboarding checklist. I want every manager to work a full shift in the most intense position before they start. Not observe, work it. Dishwasher, register, bar, whatever's hardest that day. You think they'll push back? If they do, they're not the right fit." He hung up. The café's windows glowed behind him. Staff moved inside with purpose. Customers laughed, sipped, paused in their day. There were no signs, no banners, no declarations of revolution. Just a workplace finally working the way it was meant to. And that was enough.